Gino, you have 40 minutes for your presentation. I'd like to thank you again all, and I guess you can start, Gino, please.
Okay, let's start. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gino Bertolucci Colherinhas. I'm a PhD student from the University of Brasília of the Mechanical Science Postgraduate Program. I would like to thank my advisor, Marcelo Machado, my co-advisor, Marcos Girão, the evaluation committee formed by Francisco Petrini, Guilherme Franzini, and Neda Albuquerque. I know it's hard to be here in this pandemic scenario. I appreciate the presence of all professors and guests. And I also apologize in advance for any bad English because I'm nervous and English is not my native language. After I sent the PhD report to the committee, I reviewed the report again. Then I found some English and variable mistakes that were already fixed. Well, then now I will start to present my PhD thesis entitled Design of an Optimal Pendulum Tuner Mass Dampers Applied to Offshore Wind Turbines. My presentation includes the introduction, the offshore environmental loads, the vibration control offshore wind turbine for 3 case studies, and then the conclusion. Okay, offshore wind turbines are complex structural systems that are influenced by nonlinearities, uncertainties, and fluid structure interactions. They are tall and slender, and under loads and environmental actions, they can suffer excessive vibrations. And to reduce these displacements and preventing the tower fatigue, we can control these vibrations using the pendulum tuner mass damper, the passive controller tuner mass damper. Here, I presented the pendulum tuner mass damper attached at the top of the Taipei 101 in Taiwan. And the main objective of these types of dampers is transfer the energy of the main structure to itself. The main structure modeling this thesis have 2 designs. The first one is a simplified tower with a tip mast. And the second is a monopile offshore wind turbine. The design taken is from the OC3 project, which presents 4 phases. Phase 1 is the monopile 5 megawatts offshore wind turbine with a rigid foundation in 20 meters of water. Phase 2 is the same monopile case, but is a flexible monopile, which includes the soil pile interaction. Phase 3 is a tripod substructure with a 45-meter water depth, and phase 4 is a floating spar buoy in deep water. For this project, we use the monopile without soil pile interaction. Here, I presented the main geometric characteristics of the modeled tower. The hub height has 90 meters. The cutout wind speeds occur at 25 meters per second. This way, the turbine shuts down to avoid any damage. The rotor nacelle assembly has 350 tons, and the tower has approximately 347 tons. The mass damper has 4 main design parameters: the length, the mass, the stiffness, and the damping. To find the best design parameters, a generic algorithm optimization technique is proposed to reduce the tower top peak responses. Then, 3 case studies are performed. The first one designs the pendulum tuner mass damper attached to a simplified tower using 2 degrees of freedoms model. Case study 2 and 3 designs the same mass damper attached to the offshore wind turbine using finite and spectral elements respectively. Now, I'll present how the offshore environmental loads are modeled. The loads of the wind turbines includes the includes the wind field composed of the turbulent wind, the mean wind, the rotating blades, and the wind vortex shedding effects. And the hydrodynamics includes the waves, the current, and the effects of the underwater vortex shedding. The wind velocity is computed in space and time, including the mean wind velocity from the IEC 61430 edition norm for a normal wind profile, which varies along the tower height, and the turbulent wind due to high fluctuations in longitudinal, lateral, and upward directions. The effects of turbulence are described as a random function of space and time, and the coherence function considers the crosswind in lateral and vertical spatial variations. The Kaimal power spectral density was used, as suggested by the same norm, in a function of the mean wind velocity, the standard deviation here, and the integral scale. During operation, the effects of the rotating blades also must be included. These aerodynamic loads can be computed in terms of the deterministic and stochastic terms. The deterministic one enables the estimation of the out-of-plane and the in-plane forces obtained by using the blade element moment theory. Here, we used a 61.5 meters long LM glass fiber blade from the WEC to estimate these forces. The deterministic forces are a function of the mean wind here, the axial and tangential flow induction factors, the geometry properties of the blade, and the Prandtl tip loss factor. The stochastic term is computed from the power spectrum of the blade root bending moment for the wind speed fluctuations, considering the characteristics of the same blade. Here, we can notice that the spectrum presents an oscillation due to the rotating blade effect. For the wind-induced loads, we must consider the locking effect at the first natural frequency on the lateral motion. Then the vortex shedding effect is computed as a function of the Struhel and Scruton numbers. The current velocity is computed considering the current velocity generated by the tide and the current velocity generated by the wind as a function of the water depth and the reference depth at 15 meters. To compute the wave particle velocity, we must comprehend some wave dynamics. From the DNV-OS J101, the surface elevation is computed as a function of the wave height and the wave number. The wave period here is computed as a function of the wave elevation, which is influenced by the wave depth h, and the numerical approximation of dispersion f. To apply the theory that rules the wave kinematics, we must evaluate the water depth h, and the wave height hw, and the wave period. To make this evaluation, we use the wave steepness parameter, the shallow water parameter, and the Ursel parameter to determine which wave theory must be used. Applying the correct theory by using the evaluated range of applications, we can compute the velocity and the accelerations of the wave particle. This table provided by the DNV-GOL shows how to estimate the horizontal and vertical velocities and acceleration as a function of the water depth, the wave number, wave height, wave period for a specific depth here called by Z. For two wave theories, the Airy wave theory, just a second, and the Stokes second order wave theory. After estimating the wave and the current effects, the total particle velocity is obtained by summing both contents. This way, we can compute the wave and current-induced inertial and drag force as a function of the velocities, the accelerations, and using the standard deviation and the inertial and drag coefficients. Then, the power spectrum density of the wave force is evaluated in function of the power spectral density of the sea surface elevation. Here, I used the Jones-Webb spectrum as suggested by the norms. The lift force due to the underwater vortex shedding effects will occur for a Culloden-Carpenter number higher than 15, in other words, for long waves and small cylinders. Finally, we have all offshore environmental effects acting on the offshore wind turbine together, excluding the soil pile interaction. Now, we start to apply all these considerations to the mentioned case studies. Starting with the case study number 1, the 2 degree of freedom model. In this case, a tower with a tip mass can be reduced to a single degree of freedom model. And by using the steel tower with realistic dimensions, we can generate a generalized mass and a generalized stiffness. When the mass damper is attached to the top of the tower, we now have a 2 degree of freedom system model. Here, we call the mass ratio as the ratio between the pendulum and the system mass. And now we can compute the frequency response of the tower and the pendulum as a function of all the pendulum mass dampers parameters. As a result, we obtain from a parametric analysis the response map of the maximum frequency response peaks as a function of the mass ratio and the pendulum length. The pendulum length is here. Here, we can see a valley in dark blue colors, this valley here, that contain the minimum values of the maximum peak response peaks. These values correspond to an optimized solution for specific stiffness and damping. To find more optimal solutions as a function of the pendulum stiffness and damping, we implemented generic optimization for specific stiffness values. We vary the values of the stiffness, and we find power regression curves of optimum mass dampers parameters. This technique here enables a fast identification of pendulum parameters for a pre-designed project. By selecting an optimal design case from this table, we can notice a 92% root mean square response tip displacement reduction for the controlled tower from this time history. For case study 2, we studied a finite element model of the mass damper coupled to the offshore wind turbine. Here, it is applied at the offshore wind turbine structure, the power spectrum of the wind load on rotor, the tail nodes along wind at the tower, and the wave loads on two nodes. And for the static analysis is applied the across-wind vortex shedding effects on the tower and the current loads on the monopile. The finite elements were modeled using the ANSYS APDL. This way, the entire tower was discretized using beam 188 elements with a tapered C-tub section. The rotor nacelle assembly was connected using a STRIG command and using a MAS21 element. And the mass damper was connected at top of the tower using a combined 14. The pendulum length was created using a beam 4 element and the mass using a MAS21 element. This case is a three-dimensional pendulum tuned mass damper, and the tower is also a three-dimensional case. This way, we found the offshore wind turbine. We find for the offshore wind turbine natural frequencies which have values very close to that found in literature. We can see a very approximation here. The tower top power spectrum density displacements of the same turbine also presents a very close shape here at the first mode, in comparison to a model obtained using the OpenFAST, the simulation tool from NHEL. To select the optimal mass damper design, we use the same genetic optimization technique that I say from the 2 degree of freedom model. Here we use the frequency response of the 2 degree of freedom model and include the power spectral loads in force. Then we found optimal design cases for specific values of mass ratio and pendulum depth. Two design variable set, configuration 1 and configuration 2, were performed, varying the pendulum stiffness and damping. Here you can see the values of the pendulum stiffness and the damping for both configurations. To study the influence of these parameters. For these two configurations, we see from a static analysis performed on ANSYS, the stresses at the base, varying the wind speed at the hub. We first can note a region with high stress values due to the influence of the vortex shedding, and at 25 meters per second, the rotating blades are stopped to prevent high vibration levels. And we see a momentary decreasing of the stresses at the base, growing immediately before. Here we can notice, of course, that with higher values of mass ratio, like the design case 5 here, the stresses at the base are high, of course. Being in this way, this is an interesting tool for pre-design practical cases. The peak responses can be computed in terms of the mean values of the mean wind, the vortex shedding effects, the induced loads, and by the sea current. While the response standard deviation from the power spectrum density waves force and the turbulent wind components, which includes the rotating blades. GR here is the peak factor. Applying these considerations, we can compute a full response peak analysis as function of the wind velocities for both configurations. The variation of the peak responses vary in the same way that we see on the stresses due to the influence of the induced loads and the forced stopped condition, as you can see here. We can see at the 25 meters per second for both configurations, that a response of approximately 2 meters, while we have a 2.5 meters approximately for a velocity of 30 meters per second. Those peak responses are compared to the uncontrolled offshore wind turbine, and here we take these values in decibels, as shown this table here. We can here select two design cases from configuration 2 that presents a good reduction at 25 meters per second in far-aft direction. For these two design cases, we select these two design cases for a power spectral density analysis at 25 meters per second, and we can see here the power spectrum shape of both cases. By studying the peak response reduction compared to the uncontrolled turbine, we can notice in the far-aft direction, this figure here, that at low wind velocities, the design case 7, the blue one, presents higher reduction, while for high wind velocities, here from 20 meters per second, that design case 6 presents higher reduction. Design case 6 is probably the best case example that we presented here. For the case study 3, we study a spectral element model of the offshore coupled to the offshore wind turbine. The spectral element method is based on the analytical solution of the wave displacement equation written in frequency domain. It's very similar to the finite element analysis, but in this case, we use a small number of elements, being computationally faster. From the undamped Euler-Bernoulli equation Euler-Bernoulli beam equation in spectral representation, we can compute the general solution of the displacement as a function of S and A, and using a shape function, we can compute the dynamic stiffness matrix from the two nodes beam element. The spectral element matrix is computed considering the offshore wind turbine and the mass damper effects. For the offshore wind turbine, we can sum the dynamic stiffness matrix already defined and the tip mass, the lumped mass here. And for the mass damper, we consider the same already defined 2-degree of freedom dynamic matrix, as you can see here, adding 2 degrees of freedoms atop of the tower. This way, we can add the power spectral density loads on the tower to compute the frequency response of the tower. To validate the spectral element model, the same 2-degree of freedom model with a tip mass without the mass damper was modeled, and the frequency response were compared to the single, the multiple, and the spectral elements, and to the finite element models. Here we can see a perfect match between them. The same tower with the mass damper was also modeled and compared to the 2-degree of freedoms model. We also see here good results. Applying the power spectrum of the rotating blades, this curve here, the Ten-Kaimal spectrums along the tower, and the Jones-Swapp spectrum, and using a simplified offshore wind turbine geometry, we see that the power spectrum presents similar shapes and frequency when compared to the finite element model, already defined, and with the OpenFast models in yellow here. A parametric analysis is performed evaluating the root mean square of the displacement as a function of the pendulum length and the mass ratio. And applying the generic optimization, we select 4 design cases following the same procedure that we used before. These results, when compared to the 2 degrees of freedom, as already made another genetic optimization here, we see a very good similarity between both cases. A power spectral analysis was performed to compare the 4 selected design cases, presenting similar peak responses as we can see in this figure here. We select the case study 2 for a comparison, and its power spectral density responses compared with the 3-dimensional finite element model, and we find a similar shape but different natural frequencies, as you can see here. The magnitude is close, but the frequencies are quite different. Okay, it was proposed a new optimization methodology for a realistic offshore wind turbine, capable to compute the offshore environmental loads on offshore wind turbines. A generic optimization is applied to find the optimal pendulum mass damper designs to minimize the tower top response. The tower top spectrum of the finite and the spectral elements were compared to the NHL OpenFast software. We see here a good match between them. We see that the finite elements is 60 times faster and the spectral is 40,000 times faster. Using the generic optimization, this allows finding many combinations of optimal mass dampers design parameters that reach similar peak responses reduction, and allows a temporary switching of different rearrangements of pendulum parameters. This technique can also be applied for a 2 degrees of freedom models, the spectrum, and the finite element models. The finite element was performed for a realistic characteristics of offshore wind turbines, a 3-dimensional with a tapered section, C-tub, and it uses the 2 degrees of freedom model for the fast selection of mass damper configurations. This allows a fast investigation of the performance at different wind velocities. The pendular peak sway and the stresses at the tower base were verified due to additional pendulum mass. It works for a parked, the forced parked condition and the operation conditions, varying the wind velocity. And it was noticed a 20% of peak response reduction. For the spectrum elements, a simplified tower with tip mass was modeled using these elements, finding a perfect match validation when compared to a finite element using beam and shell elements, a multiple single and 2 degrees of freedom models. For the offshore wind turbine case with the mass damper attached, we see different natural frequencies in comparison to the finite element model, but despite this, represented well the magnitude and shape of the responsive function, and presenting a 65 times faster than a finite element model. Case study 1 and case study 2 were already published on these 2 journals here, and case study 3 was already submitted for publication. I would like to thank the support of the Mechanical Science Postgraduate Program and the group of Dynamic Systems from the University of Brasilia. I also like to thank for all support provided by Francesco Petrini and Franco Botempi during my sandwich period at the University of Roma in Sapienza, and the financial support provided by CAPES, FAPDF, CNPq, and MCTI. Thank you all for your attention, and I'm now open to the comments of the evaluation committee.